I want to challenge myself. You know, Canelo is a great fighter. He's, you know what I mean, an all-time great, one of the best that came out of Mexico. I'm one of the all-time greats, I feel, you know, and why not? Why not put it to the test, you know? History. Hey, what they say, big chances, big rewards. So I'm looking for that big reward.
Terence Crawford isn't just confident, he's stepping into this battle with unmistakable fire in his eyes. He boldly proclaims that he's ready to take down Canelo Alvarez and prove beyond doubt that he's the best in the sport. Yet, not everyone shares his conviction. Critics highlight the considerable weight difference between Crawford and Canelo, casting doubts on whether the matchup is even fair. Prominent boxing promoter Eddie Hearn expressed his perspective, saying, "I do think the weight will be too much for Terence. Even in the Jermall Charlo fight, you could see that physically, he's not a big 154-pounder, and he's definitely not a big 160. The central question leading into this fight remains whether Crawford can withstand Canelo's size and power. While many acknowledge Crawford's elite skills, they argue that moving up to face a naturally stronger and heavier opponent could prove disastrous. Others counter this by insisting that Crawford's precision, lightning speed, and high boxing IQ could counteract the size disadvantage if he implements the perfect strategy. As the debate grows louder, an increasing number of experts side with Canelo, convinced the weight disparity is simply too much for Crawford to overcome. Former champion Mikey Garcia, familiar with how elite fighters often struggle when moving up in weight, warns that Crawford is entering dangerous territory against a naturally larger, more powerful foe. While Crawford has conquered every division he's entered, many believe this challenge may be unlike anything he's faced before. For a large portion of the boxing community, no matter how talented Crawford is, the physical differences are simply too significant to overlook.
Why?
Bigger guy. Way bigger. I mean, maybe not in height, but in size-wise.
It's a 30-pound difference.
A lot bigger. Crawford was just fighting at welterweight 2 fights ago.
Garcia's remarks only add fuel to the growing skepticism surrounding Crawford's chances. Some fans see it as a harsh reality check, while others frame it as the beginning of another underdog tale waiting to be written. History in boxing has shown that skill can sometimes prevail over size, but with a powerhouse like Canelo, the lingering question is, could this be a bridge too far? The conversation has shifted beyond just a single fight into a broader discussion about whether greatness can truly push past its natural boundaries, or if those very limits will eventually prevail. As fight night approaches, more voices weigh in on the magnitude of Crawford's challenge. While his technical skills are beyond dispute, there's an argument that skill alone may not be enough against a fighter of Canelo's caliber. The Mexican superstar has dominated across multiple weight classes, carrying his devastating power with him at every step, and that's where the real concern lies. Crawford has never faced an opponent at this level with Canelo's combination of size, strength, and knockout power. Some experts warn that, despite Crawford's sharpness, he could be simply overpowered once the punches start landing.
Will carry his power up to light heavyweight. I haven't seen Crawford do that. You know what I mean? Crawford's a smaller guy. Is he the superior boxer pound for pound in my opinion? I would say yeah. But going up and fighting a guy who I would say is pound for pound 1A or 1B, whatever, I don't know if that'll be enough.
This ongoing debate raises a pivotal question. Can world-class boxing skill truly overcome raw physical force? Crawford is renowned for his ring intelligence, adaptability, and movement, but against Canelo, those attributes might not be enough on their own. History shows that fighters moving up in weight often struggle or even crumble under the pressure of larger, stronger opposition. If Canelo's power translates fully into this fight, Crawford could find himself in serious trouble. However, should Crawford defy the odds, the victory could rank among the greatest performances in the history of the sport. The line between a bold challenge and a reckless gamble has rarely been so thin. Concerns about Crawford's disadvantage extend beyond mere weight, they center on power. Many believe that even if Crawford can cope with Canelo's size, he may not be able to absorb his punches. Canelo has built a reputation for breaking down opponents with brutal body shots and explosive combinations. Fighters who've shared the ring with him often describe the sheer force behind his blows, something smaller men especially struggle to endure. Former world champion Shawn Porter counts himself among those who believe this will be Crawford's greatest obstacle, arguing that the combination of Canelo's power and size will simply be too much to handle.
Others say like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of sting.
For those doubting Crawford, the main worry is clear: even the sharpest defense can only last so long against relentless, sustained power. Canelo doesn't just stop opponents with single knockout blows, he systematically wears them down, making them slower, weaker, and increasingly vulnerable as the rounds progress. If Crawford can't consistently avoid those heavy shots, he could be in for the hardest fight of his career. Yet, Crawford has a history of defying expectations, using his speed and intelligence to dismantle opponents. If he can figure out a way to neutralize Canelo's power, he could engineer one of the most stunning upsets in recent memory. The conversation isn't solely about weight or power, it's about risk. Some believe this fight is simply too dangerous for Crawford, not only because of the physical disadvantages but also due to what's at stake. Boxing legend Bernard Hopkins has voiced serious concerns, questioning whether the fight even makes sense for either man. He argues that Crawford is stepping into a situation that goes beyond normal competition, suggesting that facing Canelo at this weight could be a career-defining gamble with potentially life-changing consequences. Hopkins asked, "Crawford cares about his life. What does that fight do for Canelo? If Crawford beats Canelo, what does that do for Canelo? There are so many other realistic fights that make sense and are less life-risking." His comments have sparked a deeper discussion about whether the fight is pushing the boundaries of fairness. The suggestion that it could be life-threatening adds a new layer to the debate, leading some to question whether Crawford is taking an unnecessary risk. On the other hand, others argue that this is the stuff legends are made of, taking impossible odds and proving everyone wrong. Crawford has never shied away from challenges, but this may be the biggest leap of his career. Hopkins didn't stop there. He doubled down, stressing that the fight is happening entirely on Canelo's terms. Unlike bouts where fighters meet at a fair middle ground, here Crawford is moving up, while Canelo isn't cutting down to 160. Hopkins sees this as making the fight even more one-sided, with Crawford assuming all the risk while Canelo remains comfortable. He said, "On top of the risk that we risk stepping in there with guys our weight, now you want me to do something, Canelo's not coming down to 160. This has become one of the fight's most criticized aspects. Many believe Crawford is being maneuvered into a dangerous spot while Canelo stays in control. Still, the fight is on, and Crawford is not backing down. His career has been built on risk-taking and proving doubters wrong, and this is another chance to show that superior skill and strategy can conquer size and power. The anticipation is building for one of boxing's most talked about events, and love it or hate it, all eyes will be on Crawford and Canelo when the bell rings. While critics keep bringing up the weight gap, Crawford remains undeterred. He isn't interested in doubts, warnings, or outside opinions. For him, this is not a mismatch, it's an opportunity. He's convinced that his skills, speed, and precision will be enough not only to beat Canelo but to knock him out. Crawford is training relentlessly, sharpening every tool in his arsenal. To him, this is not about size, it's about proving that the best fighter in the world can beat anyone, regardless of weight class.
What's up, y'all? Looking forward to being undisputed in September. Let's get it. It's work time.
Crawford's self-belief sends a message loud and clear to all who doubt him. While many view this fight as a dangerous gamble, he sees it as just another mountain to climb. His career has been defined by proving skeptics wrong, and this challenge is no exception. With a grueling training camp dedicated to building power, endurance, and tactical precision, Crawford is preparing for nothing less than war. He's not stepping in just to survive, he's coming to win. Whether the public believes in him or not, one fact remains: Crawford will face Canelo head-on and refuse to back down from anyone. Yet, not every voice in boxing doubts his chances. Fighters who have shared the ring with him understand just how dangerous he can be. One of those fighters is Edgar Berlanga, who has faced Crawford and considers him nothing short of a legend. Berlanga insists that Crawford possesses every necessary tool, speed, skill, and punching power to stop Canelo in his tracks. While the discussion often centers on the weight difference, Berlanga reminds everyone that in boxing, anything can happen. Size may favor Canelo, but Crawford's ability to systematically break down his opponents and finish fights should never be underestimated.
Truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him.
Berlanga's endorsement adds fresh intensity to the ongoing debate. He's well aware of the power Crawford brings to the ring and isn't convinced that Canelo's weight advantage alone will dictate the outcome. History has shown that smaller fighters have shocked the world by toppling bigger, stronger opponents, and Crawford has the mentality to do exactly that. He's not only a technical master, he also carries the grit, toughness, and determination to push through any adversity. While many question whether he can withstand Canelo's strength, Berlanga envisions a very real possibility of an upset. The fight is locked in, training camps are in full swing, and Crawford is working to vindicate his supporters while silencing the critics. The conversation surrounding Canelo's physical readiness goes beyond mere size, it extends to his age and mobility. Teofimo Lopez, respected for his sharp fight analysis, has expressed concern about how Canelo's legs will hold up against Crawford. Lopez acknowledges that while Canelo's upper body movement remains sharp and defensively sound, his footwork appears to have lost some edge. Without strong, agile legs, a fighter's ability to maneuver, evade punches, and deliver explosive offense can be compromised. This could prove a decisive factor, especially against someone as fast, mobile, and elusive as Crawford.
Well, as long as Canelo fights somewhere in that weight class, maybe 160, see how that works out. I think that we'll get to see from there. I seen him at 154, although he hasn't fought for that time span since the Spence fight. I noticed that his legs are too old. That's what I saw.
You see it?
Yeah. His movement from the waist up are good. It's still on point, but his legs.
Lopez's observations inject yet another layer into an already complex discussion. Footwork is the foundation of a fighter's mobility, and if Canelo's legs aren't as responsive as before, Crawford could seize the advantage. A quick, agile Crawford might exploit even the smallest flaws in Canelo's movement, potentially controlling the pace of the bout. In boxing, even a slight drop in mobility can alter the entire fight dynamic. Whether or not Canelo's legs truly pose a problem, the possibility adds unpredictability to an already intriguing matchup. Crawford's knack for capitalizing on weaknesses could be pivotal. Lopez, known for his blunt and unfiltered takes, has zeroed in on the Mexican champion's footwork as a potential vulnerability. He contends that while Canelo retains his upper body technique, timing, and power, his lower body movement shows signs of age. In Lopez's eyes, this is a serious liability, especially when facing someone as fast and agile as Crawford. Footwork is critical not only for evasion but for controlling distance, setting up shots, and dictating the fight's tempo. If Canelo's movement isn't at its peak, it could open the door for Crawford to control range, evade danger, and land precise punches. Lopez elaborated, as long as Canelo fights in that weight class, maybe 160, we'll see how that works out. I've seen him at 154, though he hasn't fought there since the Spence fight. His legs are too old, that's what I saw. His upper body is still on point, but his legs, if you don't have legs in this sport, you're in trouble. Lopez's words serve as more than analysis, they're a warning. They remind everyone of an often overlooked truth: in boxing, footwork can decide everything. Even with full power in his punches, a decline in mobility could make it harder for Canelo to deliver them effectively. This adds yet another element of uncertainty to the fight, fueling speculation that Crawford may be able to exploit the issue. In the midst of weight debates and skepticism, one voice takes the conversation in a different direction: legendary cutman Stitch Duran, recalling advice from the late Roger Mayweather. Roger stressed that in his era, fighters focused on skill rather than obsessing over weight divisions. It wasn't about who was bigger, it was about who was better. Duran embraced that wisdom, insisting that in this fight, skill will ultimately decide the winner. He's confident that Crawford's abilities could topple Canelo, size gap or not.
Mayweather, when I worked with the late Roger Mayweather, I was talking to him and he said, nowadays, MFers, they have all these different divisions. We used to fight guys of different weights. He goes, it's not the difference in the weights. He goes, it's the caliber of skill level that you have. And I always thought about that, So can he beat Canelo? Of course. Can Canelo beat him? Yeah.
Duran's viewpoint offers a refreshing counter to the widespread belief that weight dictates outcomes. For him, the real question is simple: who possesses the superior skills, and who can execute their plan more effectively? If Crawford can outthink and outmaneuver Canelo, the size difference becomes irrelevant. Duran's faith in Crawford's arsenal of skills inspires those who believe that talent, not physicality, should determine the victor. In his eyes, this fight is less about sheer strength and more about proving who the better boxer truly is. Stitch Duran isn't alone in putting skill at the forefront. He remains confident in Crawford's adaptability and ability to rise to big occasions, even when matched against a powerhouse like Canelo. The belief that size doesn't automatically decide a fight is a welcome perspective in a sport where physical advantages often dominate the narrative. While acknowledging Canelo's power and experience, Duran underlines that Crawford's elite skill set makes him a legitimate threat, size gap and all. With the right tactics and unwavering focus, Duran sees a clear path for Crawford to emerge victorious.
I think the chances, I don't bet, but if I was going to bet one way or the other, I'd go the distance fight. I think Terence Crawford's smart enough to move for 12 rounds. You're talking about getting hit solid. He has to get hit solid by Canelo. So, yeah, that'd be my prediction on that.
Definitely was.
Don't go bet money on me now. I'm not good at this.
If I were to bet, though I don't usually, I'd lean toward a fight that goes the distance, Duran remarked. I think Terence Crawford is smart enough to keep moving for all 12 rounds. But he's going to have to take some solid hits from Canelo along the way. That's my prediction, but don't bet money based on me. I'm not great at this stuff. This insight forces us to look past pure physical measurements and focus on mental and tactical execution. The key lies in which fighter can impose their game plan under pressure, and Crawford has repeatedly proven he can do exactly that. Whether through sharp counterpunching, clever footwork, or his ability to outthink opponents, Duran's confidence in Crawford's skill remains unwavering. While Canelo might enjoy a size advantage, the bout will ultimately hinge on whose style prevails. In Duran's assessment, Crawford's style could be the one to disrupt Canelo's power game. Boxing great Roy Jones Jr. offers his own perspective. To Jones, weight won't be the ultimate deciding factor, it's Canelo's fight approach that will matter most. He believes that if Canelo maintains his usual aggressive style and dominates ring control, victory is his to lose. But if Canelo allows Crawford to dictate tempo and take over the rhythm, the momentum could shift drastically in Crawford's favor. This opens the door for Crawford to seize control, but only if Canelo grants him that opportunity.
The weight won't be the factor will be how Canelo chooses to make the fight. Canelo comes out there what Canelo should do, Canelo wins the fight. Canelo comes out and does what he shouldn't do, Crawford wins the fight. Control the center of the ring. If Crawford is allowed to control the center, he'll win.
Jones stresses that Crawford's best path to victory lies in securing control of the center of the ring. If he can establish dominance there, he can force Canelo to fight his fight, disrupting the Mexican champion's preferred approach. This is where Crawford's strengths, distance control, in-fight adjustments, and mental sharpness come to the forefront. While Canelo's knockout power remains a constant threat, if Crawford can move freely, dictate the pace, and keep the fight on his terms, he has every chance to pull off an upset. Ultimately, the outcome may depend on which man imposes his style early without succumbing to the other's rhythm. Jones' breakdown reinforces how crucial tactical execution will be. Through all the speculation and expert analysis, one thing stands out: Crawford's self-belief is unshakable. He knows the scale of the challenge, yet his faith in his abilities is absolute. His mindset mirrors that of a true champion, focused, fearless, and fully prepared. The size difference? The critics? None of it rattles him. In Crawford's mind, his skill, preparation, and fighting spirit will be enough to secure victory. I'm going to win. I'm going to win, man. I do everything, man. Ain't nothing I can't do, he declares. This kind of certainty makes him dangerous, as confidence in boxing can be as powerful as any punch. While analysts dissect tactics and weigh physical advantages, Crawford sees only one outcome: winning. It's not a hope, it's a certainty in his mind. As the fight date approaches, his determination burns as fiercely as ever. With the highly anticipated Canelo vs. Crawford showdown nearing, the arguments over weight, skills, and strategy are reaching a boiling point. Legends like Teofimo Lopez, Roy Jones Jr., and Stitch Duran have all weighed in, each with different angles. Still, no one can say for sure how it will unfold. Will Canelo's experience and power overpower Crawford's precision and adaptability? Or will Crawford prove, once again, that size is only one factor in the sweet science? While many point to the weight gap as decisive, others insist the real answer lies in who controls the action once the bell rings. So, which side are you on? Does weight decide it, or will skill rule the night? And when the final bell sounds, will it be Canelo or Crawford with their hand raised? If you enjoyed the fight, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more knockout content only on Knuckle Forge.